Listen, Martin Luther King was like one of the worst, if not the worst black man to exist in America.
Hey.
And and anybody that wants to argue me down, Martin said he felt he was leading us into a burning house. So at best, if you still want to believe in some of the things Martin said, the house that he was leading us into has to go away. Or at least the fire got to get put out.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just ain't
real life street stars. You know what time it is.
Real life street stars, man. We back with another one, man. A very, very special guest that should have been on the couch a long time ago. We got him in the building, man. Captain Tazaryach. And do I say that right?
Yeah, you actually said it perfectly. Captain Tazaryach. That's correct.
I'm gonna allow you to reintroduce yourself, where you're from, and what it is that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Well, I'm Captain Tazaryach of ISBK under Commander General Yohana. We've been teaching that the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the Israelites since 1969. Of course, we've all had a Bible in our house. I've been thinking about the statues with everybody in an uproar over the Black woman statue. But there's statues of Jesus Christ. There's images of Jesus Christ all throughout the planet Earth. It pictures him as white. When you actually go into the Bible, you see that he's black. When you actually go into the Bible, you see the word which is sounded out as is in the Bible describing the Israelites. So the history of our identity has been found in the book that we all have in the house. And so what we do in ISBK is go out and bring that truth to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, just for the sole purpose of once you get your identity, you get a culture. You get a code of ethics. You get a way you're supposed to live, who you're supposed to love, who not to love. You get a better sense of loyalty. If you think about any movement that we've had, there's no foundation of us being loyal to ourselves without guilt. There's a guilt that exists for Blacks in America. Like if you have a movement, it got to include the whites. It got to include the gays. It got to include the feminists. A Black movement has to include everybody else. Everybody else can have, every other organization or ethnicity can have their movement with the freedom of just being them. So what we do in ISBK is give you the freedom to love your own without the guilt of why you don't include, anybody else.
All right, man. Well, Cap, I'm glad you're here. We about to have a real conversation right now.
Definitely.
First and foremost, I want to get your take on, when we look at Black Americans, the African American, we hear stories like, 400 years of bondage and things of that nature. What would you say overall was the experiment of Black, like Africa, of course, that's where our motherland is. The whites brought us over here to build this country, I'm assuming, or to, cheap labor.
Right.
What do you feel that experiment was if you were to get into the white man's mind? What did you feel like they thought was about to happen? Because I didn't watch Planet of the Apes a lot of times. And I'm thinking like they must have, what do you think was their original design?
Like from the white man's mind?
From the white man's mind of this country.
I think from the white man's mind, it's the greatest experiment ever done by a human to another human. So the experiment of slavery, and I'm gonna use that word experiment because you put the question in, but it's so befitting because the experiment of slavery was so good that they do not have to have us chained. They don't have to have us whipped. They don't have, it's like they created an experiment so good that we run free in America and still push American politics, American gender, and American racism. There's an American racism, and then there's my racism. My racism doesn't come with harm. It doesn't come with being disloyal to my own. That's my racism brings out a sense of loyalty that's needed, where I just prefer my people first. Like if you think about racism or prejudice at the surface level, prejudice just means that you prefer your people to make it first.
Correct.
And there's nothing wrong with that. American racism is you prefer the people I tell you to prefer first. So for a Black person, the average Black person in America would tell me that I'm racist, but then go vote for Kamala Harris because they're racist, but I'm racist. But they only voting for Kamala Harris because she got black skin.
Right.
And then the white person is going to vote for Trump because they're racist. When white people voted for Trump, they could have absolutely hated Donald Trump. But because they love Kamala Harris, hate Kamala Harris because she has brown skin, they're going to say we're not going to vote for her. Now, when we come over here on them slave ships, what they do, they bully us. They take the biggest, strongest slaves, beat them in front of us. What do they do today? They take your greatest celebrities, like what they doing to Diddy.
Come on.
And then they publicly castrate them to show you that you can try to live like us, but you can't be like us. Diddy is like the white Hugh Hefner. And what we should learn, now, here's what we also got to learn at the same time, is that our morality can't be based on the white man's morality because the white man don't have morality. You don't never see the white man getting judged. Right now, Shannon Sharp, because he did something with an OnlyFans white woman, is not even on ESPN. He's not even on ESPN. You know the one thing when you hear everybody talk, he took himself off.
I thought he opted out.
But the reason why I'm saying he's not on ESPN, he only opted out because of what he did with this white woman.
Yeah.
If there's not an uproar over what he did with this OnlyFans white woman, he's still on ESPN telling us about the Knicks, finding a way to talk about LeBron James. You know, with every bit of commentary that you hear about this incident, nobody's talking about why is this 19-year-old white woman on OnlyFans? Because their morality is different. It's normal for a white woman to be on OnlyFans. It's normal for a white man to be with a young woman. Bill Belichick is 80-something years old.
Come on.
And is with a 24-year-old white woman. And not just any 20. Bill Belichick was in a seat like I'm in. White woman is sitting over here on the side. They asked a question she didn't want answered. She immediately said, I'm not doing that.
Come on.
And what did Bill Belichick do? Fall right in line.
Come on.
Nobody said anything because their morality is not our morality. So when it came to the slave, like we always talk about the beatings, the lynchings didn't even happen until after slavery was over, predominantly. It was mainly just the whips and chains because we was already in order. So now what they did with slavery was created such a mental and physical abuse that the mental oppression has never left, to where everything we do has to include white people. There's no revolution you can have for black people today that cannot include whites or gays, and that's by design. And then when we include them, you know what happens when we include them? They become the best. We was just talking about it with the AMAs with Eminem.
Yeah.
We were just talking. How does
give me your take on that?
Yeah. How does Kendrick Lamar have the year that he had?
The best year ever.
I mean, Kendrick Lamar is like the king of everything. He took down the greatest rapper of this time, Drake, right? Because Drake is like the cat. He can make a song where he just
boom, number one.
That's all he got to do. He ain't got to rap no lyrics, and everybody is loving it.
Come on.
Drake was so good, J. Cole backs out of the battle. Kendrick like, nah. No, I'm sorry. Nah, that was really
Kendrick
J. Cole
so
against
good,
Kendrick. Right, Kendrick is so good in that regard. But Kendrick takes on Drake, which is a machine, beats him, releases an album that's received by everybody, loved by everybody. But when it came to the American Music Awards, which goes right back to slavery,
right?
As good as you could possibly be, America is going to be America. And so Eminem has to win that award. Yeah. Kendrick can't win that award, but that's the biggest slap in the face. And you know what people would say? And this is what I mean when you ask me about the experiment that they did. You know who's going to fight me when I say Kendrick should win and not Eminem? It ain't going to be white people. It's going to be black people that's going to fight me to say, no, Eminem is the greatest rapper. Eminem is a great rapper. He can do this. If you talk about classes, Eminem can rap. But I wouldn't put Eminem above Redman, Busta Rhymes, or Ludacris. That's the category that I would put Eminem in because he's not really look like Ludacris is a lyricist. He can rap, but he has a style of rap. Redman has that same style. Busta Rhymes had that same style where they can rap, but you know they coming with a more wittier type of rap, like funny type of rap. When you think of best rappers, you can put Kendrick in there, you can put a Rakim in there, you can put a Scarface in there. There's a class of rappers. Like for example, Jerry West is the silhouette of the NBA.
Correct.
That NBA logo is Jerry West, a white man.
They should change it to Kobe, but go ahead.
You said, they should. They should change it to Kobe. But when you think of the best basketball player, you do not think of Jerry West.
Right.
Because you think of the other players that put more soul, more into it. So when it comes to hip hop, they do the same thing. The argument only going to become when the black people are going to fight me to death if whether I go on Clubhouse, YouTube, Twitter, no matter where I go, it's going to be black people that are going to fight me. That's how you know the greatest experiment that a human did to another human was slavery. Because the biggest opponents that I have is not white people. The biggest opponents that I have almost be my own people fighting me when I'm trying to tell them that you're the best. And Eminem is an example of that.
So I'm gonna stay there, but we're gonna stay in this pocket. Do you feel like the AMAs? Because again, I asked my daughter, I'm like, did you guess who won? And I gave her the category.
Right.
And when I told her Eminem, she's like, what? How? Like, what songs? What run did he have? Do you feel like they did that to finally say, like, we gonna tell y'all better than we can show y'all? Because I'm looking at I don't see a Drake not winning, a Kendrick, Tyler. I don't see these people not winning, but an Eminem who hasn't been on the charts, and Kendrick's been all over the charts.
All over the charts.
Wins the American Music Awards for 2025. Do you feel like they're ready for the backlash of us questioning that, or you feel like we gonna fall in line? Us as a
I don't think the American Music Awards represents everything about America when it comes to black people. In 2025, I don't think they care enough about backlash because we don't care enough about the backlash. Because like I said, when I looked on, so I went on Shade 45, I went on No Jumper, I went on all the different social media platforms to just look at the comments of it. And it ain't nothing but black people fighting for Eminem's right to win the award. When you had to listen to, even on the Breakfast Club, they trying to fight for him. I'm listening to Charlamagne and what's the other two sisters on there try to push that. Yeah, y'all had to hear the album. The album was fire. No, we don't have to hear the album. You don't have to hear Kendrick's album to know Kendrick was the baddest hip hop artist for the year. When you're talking about the best artist, it ain't just the music, it's the influence.
There you go.
Kendrick was the influence from April to April. There wasn't if you said hip hop, Kendrick or Drake's name was mentioned. But because of the battle itself.
Yeah.
So it was like Kendrick, Drake, Future too, because Future was kind of into it. Tyler, the Creator, has always had that fan base. But Eminem, this ain't the 99 Eminem. Yeah, this ain't where you could say he's like a young, coming out of the woodworks. I remember Murder Mook, battle rapper, right?
Yeah.
He was battling this rapper called Iron Solomon.
I remember.
He's a white boy. He can rap, right? Yeah. And he said in the line, he was like, Iron Solomon is like that cat that comes on the basketball court. You think he can't play. You give him the ball or give him a shot. He does like a behind the back and does a reverse 360. Everybody go crazy because we never expected from him in the first place. And then the very next play, a brother does the same move, but the hype ain't as high because to us it's regular shit.
Come on.
So what Eminem does is great from a white side, but it's normal to us. But because of slavery, like your question you asked, an experiment of slavery, but because we allow, what's the term they use? Invited to the cookout?
Yeah.
Because we give the invite to the cookout away so easily. If he can rap real good, if he could do this real good. I was watching a podcast where this white boy is sitting with Umar Johnson's daughter, which sidebar, everybody should be on Umar's side when it comes to his daughter.
Come on.
Nobody should not be on. You want to talk about an experiment? It's so easy for us to vilify fathers. when Umar Johnson should be absolutely stood by in what's happening and how he's being railroaded by the mother and the daughter. But I'm sitting there watching them on this podcast, and because this white man knows the words, the LL Cool J song, I Need Love, they said, I knew he was black.
Yeah.
That's us with Eminem. That's us with Donald Trump. Donald Trump got shot and played many men. Now he's black.
Come on.
That's the experiment. The experiment is like, we devalue black culture so much and so easy for white acceptance. He's there like a father. And we're the child. We're the childless. That's why I say Umar Johnson should be stood for. Because if we had black fathers in the house, no discredit to the mothers, but if black fathers was in the house, then our children would have somebody to look up to. And that's mental. Because mentally in America, we don't have a father to look at. So the only father we looking up to is America. Every father that we could have has been vilified or destroyed. So now all we do is look up to them. So Eminem win, they're gonna fight. Say, yeah, Eminem should win.
Yeah, I think one of the words, there's certain words in America that were created to really just vilify the black man or just say black society. When they made the word baby daddy, whoever the song, that just my baby daddy, when they made that a thing, I think it goes back to your Umar Johnson thing where they look, the outside world just look at it just as a baby daddy. You know, he's not married to the woman, therefore you're probably up to, you ain't did much anyway. You're not there anyway. And it's hard for, I see why Cassie's mother was on there and they chose not to cross-examine the mother because you cannot go against the black mother. No matter what, you feel like the black mother is always right.
Right.
But the baby daddy, you could vilify.
When the black mother got to take credit for these monsters she created.
Oh, come on.
As Umar Johnson is trying to give discipline onto that daughter, the mother wants so much control, now you can't discipline your kids. Right. Okay, so now you say, I can't discipline the kids, so you just want me to be a financial supporter? Fine. Now look at the daughter. And then here's the sad part. In order for her to get popularity, in order for her to get notoriety, she now has to crucify the same man that she would not let raise her. And that's the society that we live in, where it wasn't the baby daddy when you wanted to have sex with him. It's not the baby daddy when you wanted him to make love to you. It's only the baby daddy now after you got what you want, which is why I implore brothers. It ain't about a prenup like everybody was talking about. What's the brother? Trevor.
What's the name? The football.
What's the brother? Football player.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Everybody getting on Travis Hunter about a prenup.
Yeah.
It ain't got nothing to do with a prenup. Brothers, I implore you, be mindful of who you have sex with. Shannon Sharp, again, is not on ESPN because of who he had sex with. It's being looked at bad. He didn't have no child with that white woman. But the woman that he chose to have sex with is costing him millions of dollars. Anthony Edwards is going through that case of child support because it's who he chose to have sex with. Umar's going through what he's going through because of who he chose to have sex with. Not that Umar's a bad parent or a bad man or a bad brother. Umar wouldn't even be able to be who he was if he bowed down to that woman, which is what a woman wants. And you got to understand, brothers, y'all got to understand, the only way you can have power is by having rod control and exemplifying your dominance. What I mean by your dominance, your leadership. Your leadership is the greatest flex that you can have. And Umar gave the leadership. I'm only using Umar as an example because that's in the internet, so to speak. Right. But Umar represents every father that wanted to give discipline to the kid, and the mother was against it. That's why I said we should all stand with Umar. Umar is the face of black fathers in the black community, because when you look at the stats, black children are better when the father is in their lives, because the father is the natural disciplinarian. When you see all these kids talking and they all sensitive on the internet and want to fight so quick, it's because they argue and talk like the mother that raised them. And the mother is emotional. And she's supposed to be. Like, when we say a woman is emotional, it's not, women sometimes look at it as a negative slight, and it's not a negative slight. They're just a nurturer. The reason why you have to have a mother and a father to raise a kid is because the father is not a nurturer. The father ain't gonna sit there and, you leaning on him, crying and boo-hooing. The father is gonna listen to what the problem is, calculate the fix, and then say, okay, we fix it like this. The father's gonna say, this is how you avoid the problem in the first place. Don't go down that street, go down this street. Don't study this way, study that way. Do your chores. That's the natural balance. So when you take that disciplinarian, that leader out of the house, every kid, every last one of these socialites that you see that talk the way they are, there was an old saying that said, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Right.
I guarantee you, because the man was in the house, that's why that sentence could stand. And now that the father is out of the house, what do you see everybody going crazy over? Words.
The words.
Nobody's going crazy over what somebody especially on the internet.
Come on.
But you type anything on the internet, a brother or sister is gonna go absolutely crazy over what was said. It's just a word.
Come on.
Whereas now, that's all we do is flip. So back to your initial question about the experiment.
Come on.
The experiment that the white man did to the black man, woman, and child is so heinous that now bring it back to what I do. Without this truth of empowering the black man, putting that father back in place, letting him take his power back, that experiment will stand forever.
So when we speak on the experiment, of course, we live in, we live on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much land that we could get. Of course, they always say, hey, won't you go back to Africa? They always tell black people, want us to go back somewhere where we ain't ever been, don't know how to get to, and we weren't set up to go back. Manifest destiny from sea to sign and sea. Slavery kind of existed all the way up until when by the time California came, slavery was technically about to be abolished, but people were working.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we, this experiment called America, it belongs to the whites. Mm-hmm. It belongs to them. They put things in place for us not to get ahead. They set us up in situations where we aren't to flourish. I see Trump just passed the bill for food stamps. He's like, now we saving that money. And when you hear words like food stamp, it comes with a black connotation, like this is what the blacks need, or the lower class whites.
Right.
You don't even think about Mexicans, Chinese, any Indian. You think about blacks when it comes to food stamps.
Right.
Is there a fix in regards to, and I asked this to Brother Ben X and others, that we preach separation or integration. Which one are we going to be about? Because Martin Luther King was always about integration. We need to integrate into their system. He had a dream where young Susie could be with young Keisha and they could play together. While Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad, they were always like, no, we need Malcolm X. We need separation.
Right.
We need our own. We want to build Tulsa. We want to build Rosewood. We want our own. And therefore we could export with each other. What do you feel is the fix? Because we see a Travis Hunter. He does have a pale-skinned woman who he signed, doesn't have a prenup with, no children. So he says, I just believe in the marriage and love. And if I get $42 million, damn it, she get $42 million. And we don't see that too often. They're like, wait, why you going? Wait a minute. She ain't even your skin. So what do you say when it comes to us integrating ourselves into this society or us preaching separation? Which one works?
Yeah. And, when white people say go back to Africa, it's so crazy because they not from North America either.
I know, right?
And, they from Europe, they European. And it's such a travesty when they say that, because they should be saying thank you to black people. They should be saying thank you to blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, because on the bones of our ancestors is how this foundation was built. So when Martin Luther King, the greatest thing Martin Luther King ever did, I'll talk about Martin first. So the greatest thing Martin did was that boycott, right? The problem with that boycott is he made his movement personal. What I mean by personal, his personal desire to want to mingle with white women, his personal desire to want to mingle with white men became the movement that he put on Black people. Because long before Martin came, when we were so-called free in the late 1800s, if we had that blueprint, that small 30 to 40 year gap is the blueprint that Black people need. Now, I'm not even including like my belief in the Bible. Like my belief in the Bible would always be first, right? But for people that are not at my level, I'll give you a point of history that's very easy to understand. So if you go to the time of they so-called free slaves in like 1865 to 1870, up until maybe the 1940s. So you talk about maybe 50 years, let's say 50 years. In that 50 years time, there was no Muslims teaching segregation. There was no Malcolm preaching integration. But what we inherently knew is that America wasn't built for us, but we're in a country that we can't just move out of. So what do? What they did was stay together. The family structure stayed together. Schools wasn't just, hey, send your kid to school from K through 12. School was designed based on the trade that you would want. So the trade that you would want to learn at some age in your growth, you would go to school based on mechanics, based on blacksmith work, based on agriculture, based on law, based on medicine. It was designed for that. The teachers knew each other. When it says it takes a nation, it's coming a village to raise a people, everything was together. And you know how it was together? It was together during Jim Crow. It was together during 100 years of lynching. It was together during the same things that we go through now is the same things we were going through then. But we had the one thing that at that time, the white man could not attack, and that was the family structure. That's the core of any ethnicity. There's no ethnicity that believes that they're better if the mother and father is divided.
Come on.
We the only ones that believe that.
Come on.
So compassion and loyalty is where we have to start. We be so busy on these algorithm stations or channels where we know if I get on here and I talk about the Black woman ain't shit, boy, my views gonna go up. If I get on here and I bash Black men and say, get with the white man, my views gonna go up. The channel that promotes the Black man and Black woman coming together, like Travis Hunter, the crazy part about Travis Hunter is that he's not the first Black man that's married a non-Black woman.
Yeah, of course.
But where is the Black man that's married the Black woman that's promoted?
Come on.
Where's the famous, like Jalen Hurts is married to a Black woman. Why doesn't that get the same celebrity celebration as Travis Hunter?
Yeah,
when it should. Like, we don't applaud that because
the Philadelphia Eagles, they posted wives and girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
They had a picture of all of them.
Yeah.
All white.
All white.
The Black players. I'm like, what the hell?
All white. Because the message to send to Black athletes and to Black kids is that the white woman is better. When that white woman is the most original 304 or whore that you could ever find on the face of there's nobody that whore themselves more than her. That's why I said, nobody's talking about the woman, that 19-year-old, she's 19 on OnlyFans. Nobody's saying that white woman shouldn't be on OnlyFans. We need to stop young white girls from being on OnlyFans because it's normal behavior.
Yeah, when they said it's the oldest profession in the game, they don't mean from Black people.
Yeah, not from Black people.
They talk about
white people. Yeah. The brothel, I always talk about that heart. Yeah. That's a white bent over that they were put in the salon so you would know who was the whore. You would know where the whorehouse was. A bent over white woman that eventually would become the heart that they buy on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
And so when they put that picture out, you know the crazy part I saw, I don't know, I think it was football players. There was a bus, what's the party vans that they pull up?
Yeah.
And when they came out, it was the football players and you saw nothing but white women. They come out of it, right? Now, I'm a little on the fence on it in this context, right? Because if I saw a bunch of Black women coming out, I'd be like, damn, they done turned out.
Yeah.
So a part of me is like, if it's gonna be a hoe, let it be a white woman. But I don't want Black men dealing in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like, which way do you go with it? But that image that they put of the Eagles players, all of that is the mental. Like you asked such a good question when you talked about the experiment. That goes right back to the experiment. Because what is in the young black kid's mind? The black woman is bad. The white woman is good. When it's a white woman, when's the last time you seen a black woman sue, a black woman from OnlyFans, sue a black player over money?
Oh yeah, no. The last time I seen it try was with what's the name from the Pelicans? The big Zion Williams.
About Zion Williams.
Yeah, I saw her try.
Right.
That shit failed.
But that was getting a baby. Did they have a baby or something?
No, that was no baby. That was just her being mad that he had a baby with someone else, the OnlyFans model.
Okay.
So she tried to come at his pockets.
She was black, I'm assuming?
Black woman.
And but he's still playing though.
Yeah,
right?
That failed. It didn't go nowhere.
He still got to dribble that
It didn't go nowhere.
Wasn't no controversy or nothing.
Nothing. No one listened.
Though. Here come the white though. This white get out there. She said, now, just think about this. She's saying Shannon abused her.
Oh, yeah.
When she's saying, I want the big black baby.
Yeah.
I want you to choke me. This is the freaky shit all white women are into. Listen, I had put on my Instagram what I did, right? Because there's a lot of simping ass that be on the internet and their whole mission in life is to put black women in the bad light. So I took it upon myself. I'm on part 22 of my series where all I post right now currently is white women doing the nastiest shit on the planet. And I see this white mother with her daughter there that she's letting these white college players pour beer and suck her titties right there on there. This is a white woman. This is a mother doing it in front of the daughter. So you have to show stuff like that because if there ain't a counter from the social media because it switched from the physical to the mental. So the social experiment now is the way we vilify black men and black women is just flood the internet with the most heinous things that we can show and portray of black people. And then we show the lily white things of white people. And even if it involves a black versus white, nobody ever talks about the white side. Yeah. Nobody is vilifying this woman. Even Cassie, they got Cassie like she's some innocent woman. That bitch ain't innocent.
Man,
Listen, that case outside of her getting her ass whooped, right?
Outside of that.
Outside of her getting her ass whooped, but it's wrong to hit anybody. It's not wrong just for a man to hit a woman. It's wrong for anybody to hit anybody unjustly.
Come on.
So I'm not justifying that. But after this court case, we seeing Cassie is with the
she's Googling the BBC. Like, you pick which one you want.
Yeah, right.
Like, ain't nobody got a gun in your head. You pick which one you want.
She's paying the escort extra money. So what's she doing? She going back to Diddy after she with Kid Cudi and the husband. FaceTime the husband while she Diddy.
Come on, man.
But she parade. Oh, Diddy. And listen, Diddy's a nasty. Don't get it
twisted. He a freaky frog. Yeah, he a freaky frog.
That nigga's a nasty.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. When they had, what's that term? Birds of a feather flock together. Now, of course, I ain't going to go down the whole conspiracy trail that everybody with Diddy was with it. But if you was at a Diddy party, it's hard for me to believe that you wasn't Diddying like Diddy was doing.
Now, Chopper said it best. He came on. He said, Diddy liked to see if he could get you out of your element. That's his insight of power.
Yeah.
He said, if he'll see if you with it, he ain't going to make you do it. But if you with it, that's the kind of stuff that gets him off.
You know, that's a gay person's mentality.
Come on, man.
A gay person's mentality. I remember when I used to hang at this barbershop at East Orange, man. That was like my spot. And I remember these gays used to be there. And the gays would tell us, we do not want a gay man. That's not who we want. We want to turn out the straight man.
Yeah, come on.
And so they're going to do things, like you said, they're going to do things around, they're going to say things to you. And depending on your reaction, they're going to know if I can get you or not.
Yeah.
And everybody, like in 2025, Diddy been doing this since the 90s. Everybody trying to act all shocked like they just now knowing this. Everybody knows this about when Diddy was talking to Kiss and Fab.
Yeah.
And they was like, I like to see you scrambling and scraping, Daddy.
That's he's saying it right there. When we gonna party again?
Yeah.
He's like, we party. No, I mean, when we
gonna
party, man. He like, damn. No, wait, so you think Diddy gonna get off? Is he gonna walk?
I don't think there's a way we see where he completely walks. Because if you look at everything, even if they keep him in jail and they stretch out the trial or something like that, I don't think Diddy gonna do as much time as people think, but I don't think he walks away with no time.
Yeah, they hit him
But
with the
from what
wrong
I'm-
charges.
Yeah, I just don't see. But what they charging him with, I'm not
Yeah.
seeing it yet. It sound maybe they just bringing up character
Yeah, to show.
to try to make it seem like he's a nasty.
Right.
So I don't know if he walks away with no charge, but I haven't seen nothing where he's guilty of, like, I ain't seeing no force.
What I see is if that was Ozzy Osbourne with the same story,
yeah,
they're gonna be like, what are we talking
would've
about?
never been
It's just
arrested.
cocaine and
if he would have
yeah,
never been
what are we
arrested,
talking about?
right? Which is why, like, you can't play the game that they play.
Man.
If there's a lesson that black people got to learn, like, just because white folk do it, don't mean we could do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because white folk are gonna, the anomalies are the Weinstein and what's the other cat? Jeff Epstein?
Epstein and Weinstein.
They're the anomalies of actually going to jail.
Yeah.
Just like OJ is the anomaly of being found not guilty.
Yeah.
Epstein and Weinstein are anomalies of being found guilty. Because for the most part, white people are allowed. I just put this video on my channel. It was an old TV show, and the white guy running the TV show is forcibly kissing little kids live on the TV.
I saw
show.
that. Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, live on the TV.
Wow, yeah, the 12-year-old. Like,
yeah, 12-year-old.
Ish.
Nobody's saying nothing. Let a black person do it.
Oh man, let Steve Harvey
Let
did that.
If Steve Harvey on Family Feud finds a way to kiss a little kid, he'd be canceled.
Shit.
Like,
well,
right
they say
away.
it was different times back then. They say it was a different time back then. But we live and we learn, I guess. But let me ask you, because you mentioned that, we don't promote as black people the nuclear family, father, mother,
Right,
child.
Yep.
Do you feel, is it because the government incentivizes that we're not together? I didn't find
Absolutely.
out when I first had my kid, and I would see people talk about TANF and food stamps. They say we will cut off your TANF, which is your rent, your Section 8, your housing,
right,
your food stamp. We'll cut that off if we find out that the father is
there.
home.
Yep.
Like if we come in and look in the house and we see clothes of a man, we're gonna cut off your benefits. So it incentivizes the woman to not have him nowhere around, so she could live free, which is technically a handicap.
And that's the crazy part too, because Shahrazad Ali, beautiful sister, like one of the most beautiful sisters to ever exist in America, when she made a point to say that they made it to where the black father couldn't be in the house, but the farmers, the white farmers, they would make sure that they could stay in the house and still get assistance.
Correct.
Because the other thing that the system propagates is that black women or black people are on government assistance the most, when it's white people.
They're more
Whites and Jewish people. I have to say whites and Jewish people because the world think they're different, but they're all white to me.
they're all white.
They're all white.
Yeah.
Jewish people are white. They're just a different
Same category.
tribe of,
Yeah.
Right. They're just a different tribe of white people, but they all white people. But it does incentivize, because now that woman that grows up she's in poverty, so she's already in a condition where they struggling, they start thinking with a strategy, well, let me just let you not live here. Let me just say you're not living here. So now you coming up with a strategy that does not promote black culture being together.
Right.
But when you actually look up the stats, the fathers are involved. So it's there like they puts the mother, the greatest concern for a black mother when she gets pregnant is, how do I take care of the child?
Right.
And for the father is, how do I take care of the child? Because we're brought up in such despair.
Right.
Like this system systematically makes it harder for us to get a job, harder for us to get an education, harder for us to live, to where the only goals, you know why there's so many black people that want to aspire to be rappers or entertainers?
Yeah.
Because the job system is designed to be against us. And then when white folk hear that, they try to make it seem like that's not true. But DEI was created for a reason.
Why do you think they put on applications, what race are you?
So that they can know who to hire and who not to hire. They can make it seem like it's not a DEI or force, but of course, when Trump gets away DEI, then what do? Take it away. So now they can specifically look and see if it's black or Latino and say, no, I'm not hiring a black person. And though, before you ask that question, even though DEI, when people actually look it up, white women profited more off of DEI than we ever have.
How so?
Because DEI is supposed to be diversity, equity, inclusion.
Correct.
Equality, inclusion, right? And so at the same time that black people are fighting for that, you had white women fighting to be included into the workforce as well. So as a white woman is trying to fight for it, she says, well, DEI is not supposed to be race-based. So let me take advantage of that too. And if a white man has a choice to match the DEI quota, and he has a choice between a white woman and a black person, he's gonna choose the white woman.
Oh yeah,
every time.
You're gonna choose your race. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Like different type bamboos don't hang out with the chimpanzees.
Hell no.
They're gonna be like, we with the bamboos.
And that's why when Martin came with that integration crap, it was the greatest deception. I always use this example. Anybody that knows me, I use the same as that Negro League that we had.
Oh yeah,
is an example of we don't have the freedom, but we mess it up ourselves mentally. So Jackie Robinson is playing for the Negro League. So imagine the St. Louis Monarchs baseball team. Do you know what comes? Is there a Dallas team?
Texas Rangers.
Texas Rangers, right? When you go to a Ranger game, you're gonna get hungry at the Ranger game. So all the food concessions at the Ranger game, you're gonna now patronize them. So now the food concession stands now make money off of that baseball team. If you get thirsty, you want to drink, you're gonna patronize them people. You got memorabilia. So now you're gonna buy. So the Texas Rangers having a stadium don't just benefit the baseball owners and the baseball players, it benefits all of the businesses that surround it. So as the St. Louis Monarchs have their baseball team, the same people, the same time that they're getting hungry and want something to drink, the concession stands make money. Now the businesses that surrounding the St. Louis Monarchs make money. And then here come old Jackie Robinson, man, because he want to hit the black baseball. And we always got to prove something to white people. So now we got to prove to them that we could play in their league, even though we could have our own league.
Right.
We could have our own league, our own teams. And the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers said that he was going to use our desire to integrate to eliminate the Negro League.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did.
Off that
in
design.
2025, can you imagine if the Monarchs still existed?
Come on.
Even in this sense.
That would be the better product.
It would definitely be the better product. Because when the NBA merged with the ABA, they still kept some of the ABA teams because the goal wasn't to get rid of everything. It was to mix them in. Now, were there white owners in the Negro League? Was there white participant? Yes. But because it was Negro, because what would that inspire? That would show young black kids that I can have my own baseball team. I can have my own league. I can establish my own business. In 2025, what do we got to do? What's my man? That's what. What's my man? $1 million worth of game. What's the brother?
Wallow.
Wallow. Wallow made a statement to say he don't want to hear black business. Just let the black business be good. The problem with that statement is the reason why we even got to say black businesses is because of integration got rid of black businesses. So we're trying to reestablish something that we started and had in the 30s and 40s. And because of integration, we lost it. So Wallow shouldn't say black business. Wallow should say, hey, let's promote black business. Yep. Nobody faults Chinese restaurants. It says Chinese restaurant.
Come on.
It could just say restaurant.
Right.
It could just say Kung Pao, whatever they want to say. It doesn't have to say Chinese restaurant. Nobody says anything. If in Jersey City, where I'm from, they got a whole East Indian village. Nobody has ever told them, I'm 50 years old. Nobody has ever told them in my 50 years that you got to integrate that East Indian village.
Come on.
It's been the East Indian village for 50 years. No infiltration. But the black community has to be infiltrated because it's about monitoring too. Because if we ever let this sizzle in your spirit, anybody that's listening, what I brought out earlier about them 50 years, we built hospitals, banks, airstrips, colleges, schools, education, everything in 50 years. Yeah. In another 50 years, the white man would have been the minority and we would be the majority. That's why they have to monitor. That's why they systematically oppress us. That's why they give us drugs. That's why they do every single thing, even the music.
What do you feel about the Shadore Sanders during the draft? Like what was going on in your mind? How he kept going back from the first round, second to
That's
third?
a public lynching. Like they publicly emasculated his father, emasculated their son, and said, yeah, you prime time, and we couldn't do nothing to you, but we're gonna take it out on your son. That's essentially what they did. What they did to Shadore was get vengeance for not being able to do it to Deion, because Deion talked the talk and walked the like he's a great outside. The only person I put above Deion is Lawrence Taylor. I'm a Giants fan, so I might be a little biased. Yeah. But LT. But outside of that, there's nobody more epic in the NFL than Deion from a cornerback position. And he was so prime time, no matter what. Like, you talk about must-watch TV. Yeah. Atlanta Falcons was trash.
He gave it to
except for Deion.
Come on.
Nobody was going to see the Atlanta Falcons for nobody except Deion. And then when he was playing baseball inside the park home run, Deion was phenomenal, and they couldn't do nothing to him. Here it is, Shadore Sanders, the highest percentage college football thrower. Nobody who had more percentage throwing the football. Phenomenal. So he's not even somebody that was getting drafted based off his name. Like, you know how they try to vilify LeBron James, like he was wrong for getting his son drafted. And the argument that you would make with LeBron's son was to say maybe LeBron didn't have the talent. LeBron's son didn't have the talent to match. Shadore had the talent.
Yeah.
Shadore was highest rated. There is no excuse to not have drafted him except to make an example out of him. You can't even say he had a bad attitude. You know how many players got drafted because they had players that was on cocaine, had problems off the field.
Come on.
And still would get drafted. Randy Moss would drop down, but still was drafted in the first round, even though he had off the field issues, had an attitude in the whole thing. So you can't even say it's his attitude. He had the talent. That was a public castration. And even as he's with the Cleveland Browns right now, you know what they're saying? By the time it starts,
right.
He's starting number 4.
You're right.
But by the time it starts, they're going to have it. So you know what we would call that? Cheap labor.
Come on now.
Which is what they want from black people. Because now no matter how well he performs, because he's going to outperform the contract because he's Shadore. Yeah. Because he know how to play. And no matter how well he performs, he getting 4th round money.
So, Kat, let me ask you.
Wait, before you say that, please. His jersey, number one
jersey. So, yeah, in the NFL.
So now, what I mean by cheap labor, they going to pay him that money and make millions off of him. Oh, yeah. Just like they make millions off of us today.
I'm trying to find out why he even wanted, well, I guess he has to go to the NFL, but I'm like, he was making more.
I was going to say that. Like
outside of this.
Yeah, he could have not played.
Yeah, I could have.
But that's you know what he has, the mentality of, you ever see the movie Red Tails?
Yeah.
We had to prove to them that we could fly the plane.
Correct.
We got to prove to them we could hit the white baseball. And so you know what Shadore is proving? No matter what he do to me, I'm going to fight back. I'm going to fight back. The experiment. You know what the white man knows? No matter what he does to us, we're going to fight to prove ourselves. That white man knows he could have undrafted him. If they wanted to, they could have made Shadore Sanders an undrafted player. Correct. And he still would have went to whatever team that took him. He would have been happy because what happened once he got drafted? He was happy as his brother got happy. They let go of Deion being their manager because they didn't want it to be a conflict of interest. They doing like black people don't even understand what Shadore represents is our willingness to take whatever the white man gives us, no matter what. But we established in ISBK, you don't have to take that. We have something called brotherhood as a weapon. Yeah. So if the white man takes something from that brother, he'll give it to him. If they take anything from me, they'll give it to me. We create an ecosystem where we can survive without bowing or bending down to the crumbs that the white man is going to give us in the first place. That NFL contract is crumbs. Yeah. That little publicity is crumbs. He's already made.
Yeah, they're almost wanting to dim his light a little bit, quiet his light. And I remember one of the coaches said, "Can he fall in line? Can he get with the program?"
Yeah. Why does he have to?
I said, "Goddamn,
why does he have to?"
Right.
Nobody else. You know how many people have things, especially the quarterback is the most glorified position and the position you can do what you want. If a quarterback says, "I want this," they're gonna get it. If he don't want to do this, he's not gonna do it. So I don't know why they treating Shadore like he's any different.
Man.
I seen Ryan Leaf get drafted first with all the demands, and he was a bust.
God. Ryan Leaf. Goddamn Ryan Leaf. We all remember Ryan Leaf. Man, so when we speak on the experiment, because again, when I look at what the experiment of America is, other civilizations have been enslaved. They normally enslave their own. When you go to Egypt, I mean, everyone had slaves, but you enslave your own people. But for the white man, the pale skin, to enslave the dark skin race, again, to technically trick us, because I mean, we sold ourselves to them.
Right.
What do you say was it about the African culture that, not saying we didn't see it coming, but that we were so easily enslaved?
Okay, now here's where, so biblically speaking, in the Bible, from a biblical perspective, the white man are what we call Edomites in the Bible. The blacks are the Israelites in the Bible. Natural born enemies from the time we was in our mother's stomach up until now, natural enemies. When it comes to, when you said dark skin, a lot of people think that Africans and blacks are the same people. We're not. No. Even today, Africans will not say they're the same as us. You have the FBA movement, Foundational Black Americans. Before that, it was ADOS, Africans Descendants of Slaves, where black people over here are trying to separate from them. But long before we were trying to separate from them, they were separated from us. Whites didn't have to come into the tribes to catch us. Africans knew exactly who they were selling. They were selling these Israelites that had migrated into Africa in 70 AD. And so when the white man is looking for chattel slavery, the Africans say, okay, yeah, we know who we're going to sell. Yeah, we're going to sell these people to you. And then you're going to bring these people. Also, a point in history, the slave trade started from America to Spain first. When Columbus came over here, the Native Indians, which is another example of the compassion that we can show to white people, but not to ourselves. The Native Indians, when the white man came over here with all them diseases and shit, he didn't know how to farm. He didn't know how to do none of that. The Native Indian taught him how to farm over here, grow crops over here, till the land, and then we celebrate Thanksgiving every year, which is about the murder of them.
Yeah, they were slaughtered.
Yeah, they were slaughtered.
But would you say that's a mercy, though? To slaughter the race versus enslaving the race and then making them basically your pet? Some people...
they slaughtered and enslaved the Native Indians.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't just slaughter them.
They didn't go on a mass enslavement of the Indians. But you're right, they did enslave.
No, well, you can't say they didn't go on a mass enslavement, because to be on a reservation is enslaving.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it. When they say, I think Hillary Clinton got in trouble one time because she said run off of the reservation. That term, run off the reservation, was if a Native Indian got off of the reservation, meaning outside of the territory that we say you can go to, like you were saying, the expansion to California. Yeah. All of that was Native Indian and Mexican territory.
Correct.
Texas, New Mexico, California, all of that is Mexican territory. And then the white man comes and takes it. The only difference between us and them is that we had to get bought on boats. Yeah. But the boats first was from North America to Spain. They were taking the Taino Indians and stuff like that over to Spain first, and then brought us. So the transatlantic slave trade, that's the true migration. The true migration is North America to Spain, Africa to America, and then brought us over here. So as we are brought over here in slavery, the Africans had no problem doing that to us. Even another point of history, in the 1800s, you had blacks that went back to Africa thinking we're going to leave America, go back to our homeland. And when they went over there, it just created a war between the blacks from America with the Africans over there. Yeah. Because we never, and even further, for people that because sometimes they get mad at us when we say we're not Africans. Even Africans and other Africans don't get along.
Come on, man. We seen Hotel Rwanda, man. I mean,
you know how many different tribes is eating. I mean, they warfare different.
Yeah.
Blacks might shoot another black.
No, they chop.
The Africans gonna cut you. No, they gonna eat you too.
Yes, come on, man. Hack you down, and then
they gonna hack you down and believe they take your power by eating you. There's video. There was a cat named General Butt Naked. He would fight naked, and when he unalived you, he would eat you. Man. He would eat your heart, eat your liver, eat your eyeball. I know black people want to be African, but we show some things about Africa.
Man,
I don't know. And then here's the other crazy part about Africa. It's like 40, 50 countries in Africa.
Yes.
So even if you're a Pan-African, what does that even mean to somebody that grew up in Dallas all their life, in Houston all their life, in Jersey all their life, in Chicago all their life. You're going to tell me I'm from Africa, where Africa, that's a continent.
Egypt to South Africa is probably further than Canada to
That's
Brazil.
what I'm saying. And so now where in Africa am I going? And then think about this. You're going to send me back to Africa. And like you made a point earlier when you was like, it's only so much land. So now we're going to go back to Africa. The Africans are already fighting over the land amongst themselves. And you saying they're going to carve out a space for us to come into. Our land is right. Like, you don't have to leave this land.
Wakanda doesn't exist, man.
No, it don't. Don't bring up Wakanda to me because like Wakanda, like black people, listen, I love movies, right? Every Marvel movie was just a fantasy.
Yeah.
Until Wakanda. When Wakanda came out, everybody was doing this shit.
Man, came dressed to a T.
Listen, they was going to the movies with dashikis on, Koofy hat on, all them big B's and everything. Wakanda forever.
Man.
It's a movie. Now, back to your experiment. You know why blacks was given Wakanda instead of an American hero? Anybody can look this up. First of all, Magneto and people might know this, but Magneto and Professor X was patterned after Martin and Malcolm. That's one. Professor X being Martin, Magneto being Malcolm. That's what they was patterned after. Secondly, before Black Panther, most of our superheroes was a shucking and jive type of superhero like Cage. They did a series on Cage. Cage would talk about, you jive sucker, you jive turkey.
Cage,
would talk like that, which they would deem as the ignorant black man. What Marvel Comics knew was that if they gave us a black superhero in America that fought and was empowered, that it might empower black people to be super too. So they didn't even just give us a superhero in a real African country. They gave us a black superhero in a made up African country with a made up mineral so that we would believe it. And everybody, black people did breakdowns on that Black Panther movie. Like it was insane. And they knew to pull on the strings of black people. We're making Killmonger be the radical black man and
T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman.
T'Challa be the Martin Luther King version.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even when Killmonger killed this woman, you know why he killed this woman? So that we would mentally believe that a black man would never protect this woman. That's the mental, that was all, I'm using that from your experiment.
Exactly.
I thought that was so heavy. That's the whole point of that. For us to be divided against each other, for us to fight against each other. When T'Challa was supposed to get with Killmonger, see Killmonger's plan, and even if he disagreed with just unaliving a whole bunch of people, and just said, nah, let's not unalive them. Let's just build each other up. Let's just build our own. That's in the ISBK, we don't advocate violence against nobody. But what we do force is for brothers to be brothers. So we would have took T'Challa, we would have took Killmonger, we say, man, let me hear y'all plans. Okay, you got the power, you got the vibranium, you got these gifts, you want to kill everybody. Okay, we ain't ready to go to war and kill everybody right now. But we are at a state where we can take them powers and then take care of each other. Because what did T'Challa end up doing? Using them powers for the whole world.
Come on. Now,
no priority.
Yeah, you said something when you said they made up a fake place.
Yeah,
I mean, mind you, Marvel's New York, all this stuff is real places.
No, all of them regular places.
Man, they made up a fake place for our strongest.
Whole fake place.
Damn, that's how they get us.
When they think of Captain America, they got the shield, they got the symbol, they got the hat, everything that they can relate to. When they go outside, I'm American like Captain.
Yeah, I'm from the Bronx.
I'm from the Bronx, from Queens.
Queens,
right? When you think of Black Panther, you got to come outside and you can say you from Wakanda. You're going to say, where's that at? I know where Queens is at. I know where America is at. Where can I go to even look at Wakanda? You can't go nowhere to look at Wakanda. So they give us a pipe dream. So we go, what we do? We go right back to the neighborhood, man. I'm going to write these raps. I'm going to dribble this basketball. I'm going to throw this football. I'm going to sell this pack.
Come on. That sounds like the five finger...
death. Five
fingers of death. God damn. Yep. So let me ask you, was Jesus black?
Man, you asking a good question now. I mean,
and I asked you that because if Jesus is black, that means Judas was black too.
Yeah.
That means that black man turned on that black man.
Yeah, he did. But now, before you get the Judas part, If Jesus is black, that means his mama black.
Come on.
His daddy black.
Come on.
That means his tribe is black.
Come on.
And it's a bunch of in the Bible. That's the only thing it could be. Before we get to Judas, listen, Judas betrayed Christ. Like anybody can betray anybody. And that can happen anywhere. We see white people we see Democrats and Republicans, which are white people, go at it every day. So what Judas did to Christ is not an anomaly, like nobody's ever turned on their own. It's not.
Money existed at that time.
Exactly. The greatest lesson we can learn is that watch that lust over money. You have to watch men. If money is their power, if money is what drives them, then you got to understand there is no morality. There is no code of ethic. There is nothing. So yes, Judas betrayed Christ. Just like when Julius Caesar got killed, he got killed by his own peers. Anybody can turn on anybody. That's true. But the most important part about Jesus being black, back to your experiment, that episode of Good Times, when that young boy brought that black Jesus in there, that mama said, my Jesus is white. The brother reads out the Bible. He got skin of bronze, hair like wool. Even though he's reading out, the only place you're going to find out about Jesus is in this book. That's like, if we want to find out about Horus, Heru, we want to find out about Julius Caesar, you can only go to the records of the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians. So we talk about the people in the Bible, you can only go to the book of the Bible. So he reads that to her. And even though he's reading to her verbatim what Jesus looks like and who he is, because that experiment is so embedded in our brains, it's impossible for us to believe Jesus is.
Damn it. Do you think we need to go to like, because social media exists now. Like now, I know you could Google Earth everything and see. Like, do you feel like because it was such a far away, fantastical world they painted of Jerusalem and things of that nature, that you would probably think it's a bunch of white people walking around in all the pictures they painted. Right. You would think we just need to, not saying visit, but just be open, or be taught that no, this area, you will not find white people
that's what
in
we
this
do.
area.
Yeah, like if get into our history class. Mondays is our history class. If you go to ISBK.com, you can learn that history. We teach this history. You ever heard of the Dark Ages?
Yes.
If you go to the Dark Ages of Europe, the reason why the white man called it the Dark Ages is because he was ruling and he was in, or black people was ruling, he was in his low state. He was not ruling. So the King James, the Beethovens, the Constantine, all of the rulers that we think were white people were not white people. That's why they had what's called the Renaissance era, where they would take all the images of the black people and then just paint them white. But if you get a book called like the Russian Icons, it'll tell you, in the book called the Russian Icons, it'll tell you that this is the artwork that survived the whitewashing of the Renaissance era. That's just, now I just took you back 1,000 years in Europe, for just Europe. When you get into the Middle Eastern region, there's nothing in there historically that would say that these people were white people. The Egyptians, until the Ptolemies, there's a time in Egypt, especially even when they put out the movies like 10 Commandments and stuff like that, it's weird to me that all the other Africans are black, but the Egyptians, they just happen to be white. Just somebody break that. I just need the science behind that. It doesn't make sense. And even in movies like that, the reason why they make them white instead of black is because they do not want black people to have a realistic view of a perceived greatness, because most black people believe they're African. Can't have the Egyptians looking black, because if the Egyptians looking black, that might inspire these people that we've had sleep.
We were kings.
Yeah, we were kings. That whole concept would be gone. Even when I visited Jerusalem, like back in like 2017, I went out there, was out there for like 14 days. And so you could see they'll try to show like some truths, but for the most part, even they try to whitewash it. So really the only thing that you can do is actually learn that history. They always say the greatest way to keep something from a black person is keep it in a book. But in that book contains the very things that will free your mind. The Bible says it's high time to come out of sleep. And we just walking around sleep thinking that it's okay to live the American dream, not understanding the American dream will always include the white race that will dominate you. To bring it back to the beginning, Eminem would be the greatest rapper alive in no time. Just like Elvis is the father of rock and roll, just like the country music we was talking about, they try to make it seem like the founders were white people, when you do the history, you find out that those founders was taught by a black man.
Oh yeah, no, they're writing the history books. I mean, so they're gonna control it.
Even the Lone Ranger, I bring this up. The Lone Ranger, Tonto and that was a black sheriff.
Oh, really?
That was a black sheriff and the black sheriff and the Indian were the real ones that they patterned that after.
Oh, damn.
Cowboy, black people. Like when you do real, and this is important for all of black people to understand, your history is richer than slavery. It's way richer.
What do you say to the Blaxploitation days of the movies, the 70s, the Foxy Browns, the Dolomites, the Mac? You know, when they make these Blaxploitation movies to where the movies was like an escape for, most all people, like a book. When you see that this is what they're painting when it comes to the pimps and the way we move, like, do you feel like that Blaxploitation era in Hollywood kind of gave us a false sense? Because I remember watching Shaka Zulu, the miniseries, and I'm like, man, this is powerful.
Right.
But then I also watch Roots, and I'm like, man, this is up. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, everyone that I talk to have seen Roots.
Right.
Not a lot of them have seen Shaka Zulu. They like, all right, we're gonna put that out there. What do you feel about that time frame of Hollywood where they wanted to kind of create the narrative of what black people were based on just social commentary of
that's how you know what Hollywood is and what Hollywood isn't. The Shaka Zulu is anti-Hollywood. Roots is Hollywood. We was talking about this on the way down, saying how like we hate slave movies. I hate slave movies. The closest one is maybe Django, because Django had the opportunity where he was getting vengeance against white people, but with all the other things that they put in Django, was him killing a few white people worth it? Yeah. Because it still keeps us, mentally oppressed. The Blaxploitation has the correct name, exploit, like Blaxploitation. So for the blacks trying to come up in Hollywood, and this is why it's important you have to understand the mind state of white. Anytime you have a conversation with white people or go sit down with white people, you got to always say to yourself, what is their agenda? Because if you don't understand if you just walk in there like, man, we about to just make these movies and the white man gonna produce it. The white man gonna write it. Yeah, he directed, but this is our foot in. You lost control of the direction that it should go. So all you saw was a bunch of pimping, a bunch of hoeing, a bunch of things. And that's kind of like the blueprint that black people feel has to exist today. Most, like the days of, there's some movies, some black movies, two could play that game, Brown Sugar. There's some movies that you can see capture a greater essence of a black movie, because at the outset, it's just supposed to be entertainment at the outset. But like I said with the Black Panther movie, black movies, here's what black people suffer from such an identity crisis that there's never going to be a black movie that's made that's not taken to heart of the black person. So the dangerous thing that they did in the 70s was they made whoredom okay.
Yeah.
They made drug dealing okay. They made pimping okay. Superfly made it seem like selling drugs was the thing to do. And you know what was happening at the same time Superfly was coming out? They was flooding the black community with drugs. They was getting rid of the black father and creating the feminist movement. So the visual allowed the infiltration. We wanted to be Superfly.
Come on.
We wanted to be Scarface. Scarface came out, you ain't seen none of them. Them Italians was already drug dealers, but you ain't seen nobody emulating Scarface more than black people. That movie Paid in Full said it best. When that movie Scarface came out, everybody wanted to do.
They showed it.
Everybody. Man, I want to be. Even though the director of Scarface, you know what his vision was? He wanted people to see that after all the drug dealing, he died, coked up, shot up.
Yeah.
That's the vision of the director. The brothers said, I'm going to be that.
Yeah, they turned the movie off right when he blew that grenade through the door. They're like, I'm going to stop it right there. Yeah, that's my life.
Right there. And so you got Pam Grier, Foxy Brown, but she's naked. She plays a pimp. She plays a prostitute. She plays a drug dealer. You got Jim Brown. All of them are playing things that when the camera cuts off, they're not living that life. But this is the life that they want us to see. So imagine that kid now growing up in the 70s, growing up in the 80s with nothing going for him, told he can't get a job, told he can't do nothing. And then the drug dealer that looks just like the one from the movie comes to him and say, hey, man, I'll give you $50 if you deliver this here. I can pay you money. Your mama not in the house, your daddy not in the house. I'll take care of you. Now the drug dealer becomes who raised him.
Come on.
That's what destroys us. So the lesson, we're supposed to learn these lessons. These are all points of history. And you could say it was at a time where we're oppressed. We don't have the knowledge that we have today because we might not have had that knowledge. Listen, Martin Luther King was like one of the worst, if not the worst black man to exist in America. And anybody that wants to argue me down, Martin said he felt he was leading us into a burning house. So at best, if you still want to believe in some of the things Martin said, the house that he was leading us into has to go away. Or at least the fire got to get put out.
Come on.
You got to put the fire out before you bring us into there. But everybody that pumps Martin don't realize they're pumping his vision. And anytime a revolution comes up after that, so the Muslims is looked at and vilified. The Panthers is looked at and vilified. And they're allowed to be attacked because now they say, hey, man, you got to be like Martin. Martin's dream wasn't this. Martin's dream was little black boys and little white girls coming together. You know why? Because he liked white women.
Come on.
When we got to look at the reality, that dream was a nightmare. America is a nightmare. The only way you can turn that nightmare into a better dream is if we change the thought process. If we don't change it, you gonna say something?
Yeah, so that thought process, because again, I have to say it, I live in let's say the suburbs now, you know what I'm saying? I come from the hood, live in the suburbs now. I've seen black people lock the door on black people when they're walking to, through the Kroger mall. I've seen where you feel like the neighborhood's quiet and nice, empty, and then all of a sudden 4 black kids are on the street with their shirts off playing basketball on a basketball. And it's like, I see people be like, even our own people, the people I met, there goes the neighborhood. What do you think that is as far as for our own people to move into white society, I guess you could say, or a nice community and feel like, oh, the hood is coming in when you see, us in our culture, the way we dress, the way we style ourselves, braided hair. Like, what is about us that we look at ourselves and be like, yeah, that's of lesser, or that's not of this white society of white rabbits and picket fences and, chihuahuas?
Well, that's a lot. It's programming first, but the difference between a white neighborhood and a black neighborhood is policing, right? And here's what I mean. There's drug addicts and drug dealers in the white community. There's crimes being committed in the white community. You know why you don't see it as openly? Because the police actually do their job the right way. They patrol, they police the neighborhoods. You know what the government does or the mayor does for their city? He makes sure the cleanup crew comes in there and cleans up and spruces it up. Make sure that there's trees there. Make sure that everything, make sure it's not glass and broken bottles and anything like that.
And we're going to fix them roads.
If the suburban neighborhood ever encountered any type of drug dealing type of activity, there would be a strong police force. You know who has to police the black community? You do. The community has to do it. We have to be community aware because the police, by design, will not police the black neighborhood. You know when they police the neighborhood? In Harlem, 125th Street, Harlem, man, I've been there, teaching there since 2012. And when I first got there, man, the boy was black. I mean, it was the blackest of the black. And you would see how slowly police presence comes. And as the police presence comes, you see more white people come into the neighborhood. And then it becomes what they call gentrified. Why? Because now they've made Harlem safe for white people to live in. Now, do you not think that that same policing could come into the community and make it safe without white people living there? Yes, they could. But they have to make it that way so that they can gentrify it. So when we talk about the police will never do their job to make the neighborhood safe. So the reason why the black person has to lock the door when they see a black person, it's not that there's more criminal activity in the black neighborhood than the white neighborhood. But what the black person knows is that there is nobody to police that neighborhood like there is this community. As far as seeing 4 black kids playing basketball in the street, I don't know how old you are. That's how I came up. If we didn't have a rim, we would take a crate. And ain't it better to play basketball in the street than to sell drugs in the street?
See, but when you say like a crate, you know, when you're living in these high-end houses.
I'm using crate as an example for how I grew up.
But I'm saying like, just imagine some black kids rigging up a crate, shirts off, out there hooping in the street where normally everybody's indoors quiet. Maybe you might see a white man walking his dog, white woman walking her dog.
You ain't never seen white kids outside?
And what I'm saying is that the black people don't fear that.
Black people don't fear what? White kids?
White kids outside shooting Nerf guns at each other. But when 4 black boys are outside playing basketball with their shirts off, again, my neighbors and stuff.
That's the stereotype.
It's like the stereotype they're reading into. Like,
the stereotype that we're taught are black kids are dangerous, white kids are innocent. Even though white kids shoot up schools, even though white kids kill.
That's how the little white boy with the gun, the cops having to.
The 2 white kids.
2 8-year-old, like 8 and 7.
8 and 7.
Yeah, they were, man.
They did a full out standoff with the cops.
Man.
They alive. Live to see another day. Tamir Rice
pointed it right at him.
Yeah, pointed the gun at him. I did this show one time, man. This white woman walked into the police station, shot the police station up. They tased her. Tased her. It's the stereotype. Bill Cosby said in the 70s, and what's crazy, this is in the 70s. So because people like to make it seem like the term they use, YNs, right? Yeah. They try to make it seem like, well, the YNs deserve it because they act like this, or the black people, that's all they do. In the 70s, Bill Cosby said, why is it when I read the New York paper, when a black person commits a crime, it says, this black man did this. But when a white person commits the same crime, it just says this man. Why is the emphasis on the media a black person doing something? Why? Because they want to put the stigma that we're criminals. You go further back when they was calling us gorillas and monkeys and said we didn't know nothing. We were unintelligent. We were stupid. The stigma that they put on black people has been the experiment since we've been in America. You're supposed to be slow, stupid, can only be violent or have sex or be over-sexualized, drug addicts, convicts. That's all we are. But if you go back to that pocket in this experiment, within that experiment, that 50-year time frame where we didn't have those drugs, but we had our family structure, that's the threat. And that's why without reestablishing that family structure, we won't overcome that. I don't fault what they call the YNs. What do they call the women? If they call them young boys YNs, what do they call the women?
OBGYNs.
Like, I don't know what they call the young girls, but I don't fault. Like, we talk about like Sexy Reds, Glorrillas, and stuff like that, right? I don't condone the music that they do, right? I don't fault them because you can't blame the children for what's the parents' fault. Like, we can't blame Sexy Red for wanting to get out of her impoverished hood by making music about my box pink, booty hole brown. Who's her parents? I ain't even just talking about her biological parents. I'm talking about the ones that were supposed to be in charge to teach her or create an environment where that type of music is not accepted. There's nobody that taught her that. There's nobody. I remember in a time of hip hop, used to have Queen Latifah, who you calling a right along with a raunchy song. Like 2 Live Crew existed right when Public Enemy existed. Mm-hmm. But there was an avenue because music is subjective. It's not a monolith. So you're going to always have all types of music. But there was always a place that a woman could go or a young girl could go to learn piety, to learn how to actually be a woman. There was always a place that a brother could go to learn how to be a man. They always existed. And then now it's gone. And so we're going to fault every rapper. How do you fault the rapper? For all the people that condemn the rappers, I don't see them condemning the music, the UMG, the music groups that are making sure, because that would be that direct parent. The parent to that type of music is the record companies that do not push other music that gives an alternative. So you're going to take the person. So now here is two ways. So you're not going to give Sexy Red or Meg Thee Stallion a opportunity that gets them out of that condition. But then you're going to get mad at them when they come up with their own plan to get out of that condition.
Yeah.
So again, I don't condone it. I call Sexy Red a roach. Like, she's horrible.
Yeah.
The way that she conducts herself. Glorilla is on her way to looking like Lil' Kim. She done already had 2 jobs. She done already had a breast job and a nose job. So he's already on the Little Kim route or the Nicki Minaj route. But there is no mother or father that's showing these YNs anything different except like my organization, ISBK. In my organization, I don't know them without my organization.
Yeah.
I don't come down. You don't even know me without this organization. Nobody knows me unless there was an organization that said we're going to put the mother and father back in the house. We're going to let a black man be a black man without the guilt. A mother be a mother without the guilt. To be able to be pro-black without feeling guilty. Like if I say I'm pro-black, a white person or a black person has to instinctively say, well, what about me? Well, what about you? You had a 400-year head start in America, and you fighting at me because I'm saying I'm pro-black. Like, you want every stitch of black power, black blood, black sweat. You want to own it. That's why Eminem had to win them AMA awards, man. That shit got on my nerves, man.
That shit's crazy.
Sorry.
Before we get out of here, I got to give you a take on the Black Lives Matter movement. With George Floyd, the riots, how we stood for that. And I went to DC and I see they have a whole street, Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying, painted. And then I heard about the head organization, the person who's running Black Lives Matter just embezzling just getting the money and doing whatever. What are your thoughts when you see, like, we're going to try to create, there's always movements, the Me Too, there's always movements, a hashtag. I think it's good for social media algorithms.
Right.
The Black Lives Matter algorithm. What is your thoughts on that?
I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to say we need a black men movement. I'm going to be selfish and say that, right? Before I talk about the Black Lives Matter. No, not a Million Man March. Because after the march, what did they do after the march?
They had a smaller second one, but nothing much.
Yeah. So the reason why I say black men movement, because black masculinity is being attacked at an all-time high. That's why I said, like, we should stand with Umar Johnson. There's a couple of brothers I think I've seen recently. The DDG brother, getting kind of railroaded with wanting to be a father in his child's life. A lot of black men are being attacked just for being black men. And the reason why I say we need a black men's movement, the Black Lives Matter movement was started by 2 lesbians.
God damn.
And you know what they said? They said, we're about the mother, the child, and the parent.
The parent.
Where's the father at?
The parent.
There's no father. You know why I say parent? Because these 2 lesbians want to be the parent to their child. And that Black Lives Matter movement, you know why it gets funding by the Jewish man? Because it gets rid of the father and promotes gayness. That's why I said, like, you could be white and gay and be great in America. You cannot be black in America unless you're gay or agree with gay or promote white. If you are a straight up black man standing on black business, empowering black, that's not going to get empowered. That's why Jalen Hurts with the black wife don't get paraded all over the social media. But Travis Hunter with the non-black woman is getting paraded all over the media. And the crazy part about it, the prenup part, when they saying he goofy, half of these would get with that same woman with no prenup.
Yeah, I got that.
Half of them. Half of them having sex with something less than that.
Come on.
So think about who you have sex with first, as opposed to whether who you married to. Because I think we should all be with a black woman. So the Black Lives Matter movement ended up being terrible. At the surface level, it seems like it's important because it came right after the Mike Brown, when Mike Brown got shot. So after he gets shot, Black Lives Matter comes about it. But then all of a sudden, now before I knew about the lesbians starting it, of course, white people saying you can't have a White Lives Matter movement. Excuse me, you can't have a Black Lives Matter unless you have a White Lives Matter. But when has a black life ever mattered? I don't know of a time in America. Right now, I think they trying to push Minnesota to pardon the cop that unalived George Floyd.
Yeah.
And then try to make it seem like he died from drugs, not from the knee on his neck.
Candace Owens has been on a rant. She been on a rant to
Candace Owens,
to speak on that.
Candace Owens, I love that woman. Meaning like
she's like the Joker to the Batman.
She got a white husband. She said a lot of white things, but then I'll see her go in on when she had that interview with Ray J, and Ray J sitting there looking stupid trying to explain how this trans woman is a woman. And then I'm a rock with her because she say that. So sometimes Candace will say something right, but Candace is another one that will say things that make her appear sort of black.
Yeah.
But she can't be black because she's you can't be pro-black if you're married to a non-black person. It's impossible.
What if she's just Republican? What is that? I mean,
Well, Republican is against black people. Democrats is against black people. The only difference between a Democrat and a Republican is the Republican is more honest with their racism.
Hey.
A Republican, Donald Trump coming out there, I'm getting rid of DEI, I'm getting I respect Donald Trump's racism.
Yeah.
I don't respect the Democrats' racism because it ain't as upfront.
Correct.
On the subject of racism, when people get mad at me about being racist, I think I said this earlier, the presidential race proved America runs on racism. There used to be a thing called America runs on Duncan. No, America runs on racism.
Yeah.
Racism drives America. Everybody voted for Kamala because they thought she was black. Everybody voted for Trump because they knew he's white and he's going to put it back in office.
How did Obama get in?
Obama got in because he's black. They thought this African man.
Did George Bush mess up that bad to where they said we will put a black man in office?
Even that's part of the experiment too. So you know what white America gonna say? Or you know what the racist white man gonna tell you, the racist white woman gonna tell you when they see you? They first gonna say, we gave y'all a shot one time, we put a in office. Even though he's African. And the first thing he did was gave more provisions to gay people than he did for black. He did nothing singularly for black people. Not one thing. Somebody can argue that Trump probably did more things singularly for black people than Obama. You can argue that. And then the second thing, the racist white person going to come to you like in that movie Get Out. The racist white person going to come to you. I'm not racist. I voted for Obama. How could I be racist? I ain't pledging my allegiance to Obama. And that's the further seduce us. So Black Lives Matter sounds good, but when you go to the intricacies, and this taught me a lesson with the Black Lives Matter. It taught me that before I be for or against anything, I have to research everything. So when somebody comes out, like even when I just said, man, we need a black men's movement, before somebody should just agree with what I'm saying, they should think about what I'm saying. And what I'm simply saying is that put that father back in the house, that black father. Look up the research and see when the father is involved in that child's life, if his life isn't better. You want to stop these young kids from being so emotional, it's because they don't have masculinity around them.
Yeah.
All they got is feminine. So that man that you talking to, you think you talking to a man, you talking to his mama. And what does that little boy see when he growing up? He's seeing his mama cackle with her other friends. And so he learns how to respond from his mama, learn how to cackle like his mama, learn how to argue like his mama. So you wonder why he's screaming. I be looking at some brothers sometimes. Man. I'm like, why is you screaming like that? Like, why you loud already? Like I just said 2 words.
Come on.
And when you get all in your feelings, and the first thing, hey brother, was your father in your life? And you'll find out 9 times out of 10, the father wasn't in their life. Man. So if they want the cure for black people, you have to start with the Most High God first, but that father has to be back. That's what I would say.
All right, I'm curious in that black men's movement meeting, when a young white woman comes on the podium to speak, how many of them men go?
That white woman ain't even getting inside to get on the podium. There won't be no white women. But one thing, why I got this on the camera, I gotta say, like my boy, like I like Umar, right?
Yeah.
That's why you hear me say standing with Umar. But one critique, if he could just change two things. Stop calling the white woman a snow bunny.
Gotta stop calling them.
Because when just think about it. He don't now what his thought process is to big up the black woman, get rid of the white woman. But when you put a bunny in a nigga's mind,
a snow bunny is like a nice little
bunny. A bunny is cute.
Yeah, cute little Babs bunny.
Look at this little furry thing.
Right.
Umar want me to get rid of the little furry thing.
Yeah, like
for a brother that's struggling with white women, you can't call her a snow bunny. You gotta call her like a white roach.
Yeah, white gorilla or something.
And then the second thing is, along with the black men movement, we got to start bigging up black men. Create a mantra that empowers black men. And UPK, ours is brotherhood. Brotherhood empowers black men because brothers got to stand with brothers. Yes, and that's what I wish more things like that. Stand with brothers, teach brothers to stand with the black woman. Like a black man has no right to leave a black woman. And a black woman has no right to leave a black man, and stop letting society seduce you to think that it's better on the other side.
Come on.
It's not.
Come on. God. Man, Cap, man, this has been great, man. I think this is a great introduction to you on the blue couch, man.
Definitely.
Nah, definitely. I think we got so much more to unravel.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I wanted to make sure that, for seeing what you got going on. I mean, it's 2025, the year of our Lord. Let them know what you got coming up. Let them know what you got going on. Any type of movings or dealings.
I appreciate it, man. I'm glad. I like that you said year of our Lord. That's Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Shah Mashiach in the Hebrew. But I am Captain Tazaryach of ISBK under Commander General Hana. Before I talk about myself, Commander General Hana does a radio show every Monday on a YouTube channel called Black Watch. I call it like the Black CNN, where he does the news on everything current. From what's going on with the Israelis and the Palestinians to what's going on in the black neighborhoods, and provide solutions. We also do classes Monday through Friday on our YouTube channels called One West Online Classes. And we teach every day. So there's a different subject: history, brotherhood, the law, the Hebrew language, scripture breakdown done by General Hyman, who does an excellent class. When it comes to myself, I do at my YouTube channel is Captain Tazaryach TV. I do an interactive live show pretty much every day where people could call in, ask questions. I do a radio show every Thursday with my partner, Captain Kadaza, called Cross the Line Radio. My boy, Captain Mawaquad out of Chicago, does one called Round Table of Truth on YouTube. We do that. I have a business. I rarely talk about the business. I'm glad you said that, so I get to talk about my business. I have a business where I sell on Etsy and Amazon. I sell body butters, body oils, candles, incense, beard oils. I sell what I call hair crack. The hair crack doesn't come from the drugs. It actually comes from the movie Beauty Shop that Queen Latifah was in. She used to sell this concoction that she made herself called hair crack for the hair. So I actually make a hair crack that will make your hair grow, your beard grow. If you go on my Instagram, I actually have testimonies of women where they actually had bald spots in certain spots and their hair actually grew.
Is it an oil or is it a
it's an oil. Yeah, so it's an oil. I have a grease too. So I have it's called Cap's Grease and the hair tonic or hair crack, and you use them together. So it's a grease and an oil that you put in your hair, and it actually will help your hair grow. Now, if you bald, I can't help you if you're already bald. Yeah. But like, let's say if you got hair, but you got some bald spots or some patches, if you use it, it'll actually help your hair grow. My website is carlgass.com. That's CARLGASS.com. You can find me on Etsy, on Amazon for that. That's
man, amazing. With that being said, I'm gonna make sure we drop some links in the description, so therefore y'all can get right to it very quick. Mm-hmm. Man, it's very rare we have these type of conversations that invoke more thought. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That we got to start, like you said, the answers being books. It seems like we don't read them. So right now we're going to put the answers in a podcast.
That's it.
I guess the answers on YouTube.
Yeah, let's do more. You know what I mean? That way we could bring this information out because we do listen to YouTube. Like we were just talking earlier, we be looking for what can I listen to while I'm driving on the road or at the truck or whatever like that. So this is definitely good information that I think should get out.
There you go, man. Well, with that being said, man, thank you for coming through. Thank you for blessing the couch.
Problem.
We got to say, man, Captain Tazaryach, you are a real life street star, man. Salute.
Peace. Salute.
Lego.
Salute.
Shout out real street stars, nigga. Move. Hey.